One already. This is the first content on the channel. Welcome back this year as well. I hope you had a good transition into the new year, and I hope it will be a year full of peace, joy, happiness, and contentment. Now, since nobody of you is here yet, you probably only see this. I'm seeing my live stream and it's showing me an advertisement. So since I'm alone now, so nobody of you has joined yet. So if you see this in the replay, then Happy New Year to you as well. And yeah, as I said, I hope it will be full of happiness, joy, contentment, and peace. And also, I hope your dreams will come true if it shall be good for you. So for me, the New Year was slow. So the New Year in Japan always is slow. I think there's no tradition of fireworks or anything. So there are fireworks festivals usually in the summertime in Japan. In my town in Nagano City, there is one festival in the end of November, but usually not in New Year. So I think Tokyo and so on might have some fireworks, but that's more for like the entertainment of the foreign audience. So my New Year was slow with family. So we stayed at my mother-in-law's house. A little bit of food. Then yesterday was the last day of the Japanese band Arashi, which is the biggest band I think in Japan. It's like a boy group. And they, about 1.5 years ago or so, they announced that they would retire in the end of 2020. Of course, they assumed probably they would have like a big opportunity at the Olympics, like have one more big concert or something. But, well, it didn't work. So yesterday was the last event they held, and it was live streamed only, so not on TV. And it was a little bit absurd, maybe not absurd, but definitely unconventional. So they were it's what seemed like a super big arena or something, but nobody there, obviously, because of Corona. So I'm super impressed that they could like keep this energy and speak as if they would be speaking to like an audience, just like me now. But they definitely did it better. So yeah, that was that. I'm not so interested in that. I wasn't so interested as well. So my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my wife watched that, and then it was over at like 11:30, and then usually, I don't know if everybody does it in Japan, but we do it. Is we jump into the new year, so we count down, and then at 1 you jump, and at 0 you land in the new year, and then it's it. In Japan, usually you would say "Akemashite omedetou gozaimasu," so congratulations for the new year, but you only say that, and you only should receive that if if nobody passed away in your family in the last year. But unfortunately that happened for us, so for us that's not the case. So we would then say "Kotoshi mo yoroshiku onegaishimasu," which means please be kind to me this year as well, or please support me, and so on. Yeah, so that was that. And then today, as you can see maybe from the thumbnail, I made an igloo with my older one. So we went outside. Unfortunately, we don't have a sleigh, so we just all the other kids have, or Bob, you know. So we made an igloo, and first I made a small one, and said, "Okay, get inside," and he's like, "No, that's too small." So then I made a bigger one and connected it to a small one, and that's what it looks like, the way it looks on the thumbnail. So happy New Year to you too, Stefan and John. We did not, so I mentioned in the beginning, we did not have fireworks here because in Japan it's not what they usually do. So fireworks are more a thing for the summer, but in New Year there's no fireworks. Yeah. Many people go to the shrine. For example, here in Nagano at Zenkoji, there's a tradition that the temple bell will be rung 107 times in the old year, and then the 108th time in the new year. And then people come to pray for the new year and so on, and they give back their omamori, that's like the protecting charms or so, usually to a shrine, and there it's burned, which is maybe not so great for the environment, but that's kind of the tradition. We don't go there now because there are too many people. Yeah. And conveniently, our temple, the big temple here, Zenkoji, has like good luck charm dispelling disposal boxes, so you can come anytime if you want to. Now, please let me know how your new year was and so on, and if you have any questions and so on. As always, do you speak Japanese? I do speak Japanese to some extent, I would say. So I'm certainly not fluent in any situation. So when it's conversational, that's usually no problem, because my wife does not speak anything else but Japanese. So that's the issue, or maybe that's the reason rather than an issue. And so I can speak well with my wife, of course, so that's conversational. But then at work, sometimes it's I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say afraid, but I'm holding back Japanese, because if it gets too business or too polite, then I might miss something, and it's important for me to be understood and understand quickly. So yeah, what I want to say is, if it's non-formal, then it's fine, and if it gets too polite, then I have some issues sometimes. And then, maybe if you have seen it, there was a new video out, when was that, 2 days ago, about Japanese kofun, which are big graves, essentially, or tombs, which were used in the Kofun period. Who would have thought, which was from around 300 to 538. And I went to the biggest one here in Nagano. Thank you for watching, Yedidia. I hope you liked it. So I went to the biggest one here in Nagano. It's not so far from here, maybe 20 kilometers. So I went by train and then climbed up a mountain. It was like, you go to the station and then you walk around the mountain and up another one. And there it is, that's like 3 kilometers or so. And then when I went back down, there was a signpost pointing in the other direction, which said station. Like, what? So I went that way, and turned out you can go across the mountain and then down, and then it's on like 1 kilometer. So don't always trust Google Maps, because in that case it was definitely off. So, and what else? So there will be another video up, maybe next week, I think. Currently working on it, but I did it with another YouTuber, Victor from Frame of Travel. That's the channel name. He's also has a great Instagram account, and we went together, so we will publish at the same time. So it's also depending on when he can be ready, and then we will push this one out. Alexa Meta, Happy New Year's to everyone. I was at Osaka maybe on New Year's a couple of years ago. You barely could walk around. How full was Zenkoji? Have you been there on midnight? Is COVID affecting this too? I haven't been at Zenkoji because of COVID, so it is affecting this, yes. And I think it's the rather crowded for the situation, given the situation, but probably not as usual. I've been there on New Year's Day in 2017, and it was a lot of people. It was a lot of people. I even took some videos, I think. And yeah, but I don't go at midnight because I have small kids. So then it was really unusual here private fireworks were forbidden and it wasn't allowed to meet with groups, so it was a somewhat quiet thing with the family, which wasn't a bad thing, to be honest, says Stefan. That's from Germany, I think, right, Stefan? Or German speaking. Yeah, as I understand, in Germany, you're not allowed to or fireworks are not sold or have not been sold. So, and you are not allowed to leave the house for something that's not necessary, such as burning of fireworks. But probably, I think, if you had some leftovers and burned them in your own garden or so, then you could do that or something like that. John asks, no beer tonight. Well, good. Well, John, good you're asking. I actually did prepare something. I'm not sure yet if I should drink that. It's a Belgian one. It's called the Verboten Frucht, which means the forbidden fruit. I understand that much. Let's see, maybe later. Maybe Jyoti or Jyoti. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year to you too. And also Zeus, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Zeus. Yes, from Germany, Stefan. Okay, excellent. Me too. Are you from which area in Germany? Both from Germany, Alexometer and Stefan. Yes. Yeah, actually, a lot of, I think, the returning viewers on my channel are Germans. So sometimes I'm wondering if it would be better to make German content to, you know, also be viewable by the Germans that don't speak English, or don't like listening to English or my English. So, well, but then of course all the non-Germans would be like not possible, would not be able to understand me anymore. North Rhine-Westphalia, okay. Stefan, and then close to the Netherlands border, could manage to get fireworks. Düsseldorf seemed quite full of fireworks, at least from my point of view. I see. And Zeus says I would need to go back to my German lessons. Yeah, no, I won't do this. You don't have to. You don't have to. You can just, I mean, if you want to. Would be interesting, but both languages are welcome. Yeah, I mean, if I would do that, I would do another channel. Actually, I did that. So I made another channel, and I uploaded one video. I prepared one, and my plan was to create 5 videos, upload them, and release them on a weekly basis, and see how far it goes. And because I wasn't sure, then at least the people that joined in the beginning or so would have something they could look forward to, and some reason to subscribe. And then I uploaded one video and filmed another one, and that was it. So I never actually made 5. So then it stayed at this channel. English is fine. German, Japanese videos would be a hell of a small niche. Exactly. That's the point. So English videos, of course, have a much bigger potential audience. However, Japan in itself is also a small niche, growing though. So yeah. Zeus just realized the last German lesson he had was over 20 years ago. Time flies indeed. Time flies indeed. Over 20 years ago. That means like maybe even in this millennium. So 2001, 2000. German with English subtitles. Yeah, or English with German subtitles. Sometimes. So usually YouTube generates the subtitles automatically, kind of okay. But then sometimes it says it's German, and then I think like, oh God, my English is getting worse and worse. Do one video in Akihabara and see the weeps flock to your channel. I did one in Akihabara, actually with another German YouTuber called Around Akiba. So his channel totally focuses on that, and I mean, his content is amazing, but also I wouldn't say obscene, but very close to, like, I mean, as little clothing as possible on YouTube almost, but very interesting. And You did a video with another YouTuber in German, which was quite interesting to hear you speak German. Did I? Oh, yeah, of course, yes. On Tokyo Maniacs, that's the channel, if anybody's interested. Yeah, true. I think that was the only video I ever did in German, and I was super surprised by how easy that was. But it also, I think, depended on a little bit on the interview situation. So if somebody just asks you stuff and you can just reply from your memory, it's easier than if you have a script and then you have to repeat that word by word. And then, of course, if I do it in English, then as you can hear, I also have to focus on pronunciation a little bit, that it's not too off. People can still understand what I'm trying to say. There's like, I have to run two processes, one for actually remembering the script and one for like putting it out correctly. There seem to be at least a dozen of new Japanese YouTubers in my recommendation list in the last months posting reaction videos in English. I wonder where this is emerging from. Yeah, me too. I know, I've seen that too. And also a couple of like established, or one at least, established YouTubers, like the one, like that Japanese man Yuta did one. And then another girl, I don't know her name, but she's an ex-girlfriend of Dave Crippen, which I did a couple of videos with, videos with. And actually with Yuta I also did a video once, and guess what I did? I taught him German. This was in the beginning of 2017, but he never released it, unfortunately. So it was like a little bit like the reaction video thing. So there was one guy who has a video about teaching Finnish to Japanese, and it was like a viral success. So Yuta had the idea, I think, to recreate that. So he asked for people who could teach him something, and I said, yeah, I teach you German. However, then probably, I don't know, the niche turned out to be not as big as he hoped or something. Seyers learned German at the end of the last millennium. Okay, that sounds so far away. And it is 21 years, more than 20 years. It's always easier for Germans to follow another German-speaking English and listen to the lovely German accent. That's true. Actually, what I realized is, first of all, when I started YouTube, I thought my English was pretty good, also pronunciation, because I had like 1.5 years or so where I was working in an English-speaking project with the project manager being American and so on. So yeah, I said, yeah, pretty good, probably no problem. But apparently, according to my international audience, I sound like Arnold. So I get comments like, "Can you say I'll be back," or "Get to the chopper"? And I think also if you don't get aware, if nobody makes you aware of that, or you don't have this awareness for German accent, then also you cannot really differentiate if somebody is speaking in a German accent or not. So now I can. Not as hard as Arnold, yeah, but also not so far away, apparently. Close enough. Others, like today I got a comment saying, "You look American, but you have an accent." I'm lost. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, culture shock maybe, but not all white people are actually American. And other people also ask, other comments say like, why do you speak in a Japanese accent? Because apparently Japanese speak like me, or they think, to them it sounds like Japanese and Germans, or my German at least, sound very similar. Which I get to some extent, because the R is hard, and it's also hard for Japanese and so on. That being said, maybe let's quickly see how this forbidden fruit tastes. And I'm opening this with my tiny little Leatherman Squirt PS4 tool. It's so small. This beer, yes, it's so small. It just ripped it here open. Do you see that? There's like a. No, it doesn't open. Great. Yes, success. Success. Happy New Year, Stan. Stan? Should I call you Stan? Or I don't know how to pronounce here. Maybe Václav or Václav, your real name? I will say Stan. Or should I call you Satan? One second, I'll be done soon. Are you at least able to do contact sports in Japan? No. I mean, yes, in theory. So from what I do, Václav, maybe Václav. It's always hard because if I read that and it's not English, then I pronounce it German. I don't know if that's what you expect. I would say Václav. Cheers. So contact sports is okay, I think. At least it was recently. It tastes so-so, I think. Not bad, but also not like, wow, that's the drink of my life. Good. So back to contact sports. So Aikido is very contact intensive. Not like you punch somebody, but you get somebody very close or so. It's like maybe the head is here, which is of course too close if you have corona. Even if somebody's wearing a mask, probably. But it's, as far as I know, it's allowed. So where I teach, that's in a school, so that's not allowed. So the school doesn't allow any non-students, so no parents, no external teachers. So I cannot teach right now. But for example, the Aikikai Hombo Dojo, which is like the main dojo of this organization called Aikikai, they opened with some restrictions, so you need to take your temperature when entering, and we need to wear a mask during training and so on. However, there was one case there too, and then they had to close for a day or so and disinfect everything and so on. So it's not, since I have a family, it's not something I'm currently doing, unfortunately, because I really want to. I really want to move again. Like the last training I had was in February or something, which is so long. Of course, I do it by my own and so on, and it's better than nothing. Kind of like keeping me moving so that it's not so hard again to get back, but it's of course not the same. Outside training in the snow, yeah, that would be fun until there's no snow anymore, which would be soon. Today I did, when I was outside with my kid, I did a roll to impress my kid, and then he said, like, do it from the hill. Do another one, which is much more difficult, actually. Ah, 10 people watching. So thank you all for your time today on this day. Probably, I don't know what time it is for you. If you're in Europe, like probably Václav, Alexa Meta, and Stefan, then it should be like like noon. Exactly. Then you probably just woke up. Speaking of Japanese-German videos, there is a German language channel with a student from Germany who was in Japan for 1 year, and he did some interviews with his mates in Japanese. Right? Yes, the right time after long sleep. Excellent. German language channel. Maybe I don't know that one. 5:20 in the morning. Okay. So you're still awake, not. And 10:20 here. Oh, in Australia. I see. It's interesting to hear that mixture. Yeah, I can imagine. Would like to hear. I know there's one guy who's Mr. Nippon. He was here for a year, I think. Ah, okay, it's actually him. Okay, there we go. I didn't know he does German language. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I see. Now I just misread that. I understood it as German language channel, as in he's teaching German language, but he's speaking German. That's what you mean, right? Yeah, I know him. He's I think he's extremely entertaining. He seems to be a little bit of mm, not the archetype YouTuber from how he presents, but what he does is actually very entertaining and like totally does the job for good videos. And I mean, his success proves him right. But I never met him. So it's probably totally not interesting for the others that are not German. So if you have anything you would like to talk about, any questions or so on, please let me know. Like, how was your, for those of you who haven't shared yet, how was your new year? What did you do despite the current situation and so on? I'm thinking, did 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 they already start vaccination where you are, wherever you might be? Because here I think they didn't. At least I didn't hear anything from that. Or also not from my company. They would probably be fast with that. However, Japan of course needs to do it quickly. They need to get like started now so that they have like a critical mass in May, June or so, and then actually can have the Olympics. Because otherwise it's not gonna be realistic, and it will have been a pretty expensive adventure. Germany started, Israel already vaccinated 10% of the population. Okay, well, that's not gonna cut it yet. Do you think Japan's overrated in the West? Apparently, it's the most popular immigration destination in USA and Canada. So you mean if you say you mean US and Canadians, US and Canadian US American and Canadian citizens want to go to Japan? Is that what you understand it right? As in people want to move there. Oh, okay, I see. I should have read the next message. I don't know. I mean, no, yes. So the thing is, Japan is great, full stop, and it's even greater if you come here as a tourist because you have all the pros and no of the like all the upsides, none of the downsides. So you don't have to work at a Japanese company. You don't have to do all the paperwork and send faxes. You remember paper into this machine and so on, and you can travel around and you probably have a good budget with you when you come here and so on. So it should be fun. Everybody's super polite. There's great food and all that, and you're not missing your family because you're just for or your friends or whatever, just because you're here for vacation and all that. So it's a great destination for holiday, for vacation. And then if you live here, that might be another story because A, you have to socially integrate, which you might not be able to, or you don't know how to. And B, because you have to work again and all that stuff. So essentially, probably if the reason you want to move is you have issues, then they will come with you. So you have to solve them in one way or another, and moving to Japan might not be the solution. That being said, it is a great country, and it can be great to live here, and it can be pretty uncomfortable to live here, and it totally depends on the person. So probably it's overrated if everybody thinks it's great. So because it's not just great, it's another country. So and there are issues here as there are in America or Canada. And I mean, certainly there's like if you like, I like Japan because I like anime or manga or so, then it will be different, obviously. I mean, because it's a fantasy world, right, to some extent in manga and anime. If that answers your question. On top of being interested in Japan, I watch your videos because I'm a Frenchman living in the US, and seeing other expats experiences is very nice. I see. I don't speak French. I learned French actually for 1.5 years, and then I quit, and I don't know anything. It was very unsuccessful, so I can't say anything in French to you now. But thank you for watching. Has living in Japan restricted you in traveling the country itself? Yes, definitely. So usually people that live in Japan don't travel. Or in other words, I have a friend who's coming here almost every year, not this year, but almost every year, and he has seen much more of the country than I have. Since I moved here, I traveled maybe a handful of times or so. So in 4 years, maybe 5 times, like a weekend trip somewhere, or if a friend comes over and so on. But generally, because you work so much and you have so little holidays, and then maybe you spend with your family or so, or there's Corona, I haven't traveled so much, hopefully. So that's why this time I'm trying to bring the channel into a direction where I do more kind of travel related things, but in this area. So essentially, when people think about Nagano, they think about maybe skiing. If first they think of nothing, maybe 80% of the people or more, because they don't know what Nagano is or where. Then the other maybe 20% have heard of the Olympics in 1998, was the last time when he took German lessons. And then so they think about skiing and snow, and then maybe some more think about snow monkeys, snow and then monkeys, and then that's it maybe. And now when my friend Victor visited 2 weeks ago, I asked somebody, what could we do in Nagano? What's like the thing you do except Zenkoji, the big temple? And he's like, I don't know. So most people, if you ask them what's there to do in this area, they just say, go to the temple and that's it. And it's a great temple, of course, but for me as a YouTuber who has covered this temple, I need some more. So what I want is to show the things that are not like the 2-3 things you can do in the city, but like more behind, like going beyond what everybody knows, and show like the people, like just go to a nice craftsman store, like there's somebody who makes knives, somebody who makes like sauce, Japanese sauce or anything, and then show them at their work and what they do and their life and their passion. And that's what I want to do in this area. So without traveling too much, because it's hard and also expensive. Traveling in Japan is easier than many European countries. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's easier if you have the means to do that financially. So Shinkansen is so fast, the bullet train. It's so convenient. You can go anywhere, and but of course it's expensive. So then you can go with slower trains, and then it's not as maybe comparable to many European countries again, or like a bus or so. Take a bus. I have traveled Europe much more extensively than Japan, though. Thank you for making videos. Yeah, thank you for watching my videos, Seyosh. Because, without you, no me, no YouTube channel. By the way, can you see that behind me here? Today I purchased a yoga mat and it's pink. My wife said, yeah, but I want a blue one or navy. My wife said, why don't you take the pink one? It would fit, like it's brighter. I'm like, okay, whatever. And she's like, really? But yeah, I have no problem with pink. And I bought this. I don't do yoga, but I do like what's that? Like fascia massages. If you know that, there's a roll. Wait a second. So because I have issues with my knee, I need to loosen the fascia around above the knee and below and so on, to keep it from getting painful. And I do this with this one, among other things. And it's already orange, so it fits super well. And if I do this on, like, for example, the carpet or my hot carpet here, then they disintegrate for some reason. So that's why I bought the yoga mat now. Okay, now I have to catch up with the comments. A friend told me that he loves Japan, the people, culture, food, but actually living there is pretty hard. Speaking of work culture, problems for a foreigner to get an apartment and so on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, work culture, I mean, depends, of course, the international companies as well, but it depends on, obviously, on your profession. So if you have nothing that is highly requested now, like what I do, thankfully, it's gonna be hard. And then, of course, getting an apartment, I personally didn't have this experience. So far, we almost always got what we wanted. And the one time where we didn't get it wasn't because I was a foreigner, but because the landlord wanted to use it for himself. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's nicer to come here as a tourist than working here. But maybe if you can manage to be self-employed or so, or your friend or so, then might be more convenient. Or at least, if you work your ass off and spend a lot of time working, then you do it for yourself. Czechs remember winning in hockey. Oh, you did? I didn't know. In '98. I mean, maybe it's too late, but congratulations. I don't think Germans ever won anything in hockey. You said you uploaded a German language video on another channel of yours. Does it still exist? It never existed, so I uploaded, but I kept it private because I wanted to have a backlog of 5 and then release them week by week. But I never made 5, so it's just not released. Nagano, been there once. On the way from the station, we came by a small liquor shop ran by an old lady and managed to find a Hibiki 17 bottle there. Zenkoji was also really awesome. Oh, where was the liquor shop? Station? Probably on the Zenkoji exit side, right? I know there was a tourist thing which has like the big sake barrel in front of it, but it's closed. It's gone. Yeah. Hibiki 17. I think I never had that. Love Japanese trains, very convenient and almost always on time. Excellent. Yes, true. Especially the fast ones. And if they're not on time, it's really like worrying almost, because like has there been an accident and so on. One time friends visited me, and then we did visit some areas, then came to Nagano, and I and my wife had to do some preparations for our wedding ceremony in Japan. So we married in Germany and had a ceremony there and another one here. And while we did that, my friends went to Matsumoto, which is maybe an hour or so by train from here. And there they went to the castle, which is famous, and then to an onsen. And there, one of them dropped his phone into the onsen, so it was dead. And the other one's phone didn't work or so I couldn't contact them. And then the train had delay, which didn't say outside of where I was waiting. So then I was concerned, but thankfully they arrived. Love Japanese trains, very convenient and almost always on time. We had that good old Black Roll, the orange version, exactly, yes. And Black Roll is a German company, I think. So this is a Black Roll. Black Roll, here it says Black Roll. Even though it's orange. It's a German company, I think, so it's super expensive here. And but the orange version, probably because it's not painted black yet, is cheaper. Nagano, yes. Nagano Olympics. Just check the map. Maybe it was named Kumaki. It was not on the main road. We love to stroll the side streets too. I see Kumaki. You know, some people ask me about craft beer in Japan, and usually I'm a little bit hesitant when it comes to drinking that, because often this has a slight licorice taste, and some have it really strongly, and I don't know why people would do that, make their beer taste like that. Like dark beer, but it tastes like licorice. Kumaki, yeah. Maybe one day I will go there. I mean, I have a whiskey, which my late Aikido teacher gave me, or his wife gave me after the last seminar he held in Japan, which was 2 years ago, in 2018, so almost 2.5 years ago. And I just opened it the day before Christmas Eve, because it was no, not the day before, on Christmas Eve, because on the 23rd in Germany is my first Aikido teacher's birthday, and then I joined the Zoom party and like opened the whiskey for that event, on that occasion. There was everything. Wants to ask something? Please go ahead. Anything is fine. They have an interesting craft beer culture there, I think. Some strange and some really great. Yeah, maybe. Recently I had one from Karuizawa, which is also in Nagano, and was nothing special, but not bad. So drinkable. But I wouldn't buy it again because it was like $4. It is tough for people from beer countries to try local beers. I think so too. So especially, maybe if you know German, especially in the south of Germany, where I'm from, we have something called the Reinheitsgebot, which might translate as what is that? It essentially very strongly limits what you can put into beer, what you can use as ingredients, and so I don't understand why people put things in there that don't belong there, like berries or something. Why would you do that? Maybe we're a beer minimalist or so. That being said, I'm also not a great beer drinker. So the last beer I had before this one was the one I had at the last live stream. Purity law. Yes, that's the word. I was in Sendai on a Matsuri, and even the local baseball team had their own beer. Oh, I see. Did you try it? Was it good? If I know Japanese, will it be easy for me to get a Japanese visa? I cannot say that. So the visa is always a little bit difficult. So many people ask me about visa. That's why maybe 3-4 years ago, I made a video on how to get a visa in Japan. Essentially, I listed all the different popular visa and the requirements. And then I got a lot of questions, so I made another video essentially answering a lot of questions. I think especially about when I don't have a university degree, how easy will it be? And Japanese language is not a requirement. So generally, getting a visa is not connected to Japanese language. However, getting a job might be easier if you speak Japanese. And then again, it depends what kind of profession you are doing, what field you're in. So if it's something that's actually wanted here, and then for the working visa, there are a couple of categories, and if you fall into one of them, then you can apply and get a visa, but you need a job offer already. So the company needs to be very active in getting you the visa or the certificate of eligibility. And to get that, you need a university degree, any university degree, which is why so many people come here for English teaching, even though they have they studied arts or so, not teaching or English language or something, or linguistics or so. They just want to come here as a teacher, and they can do that because they have a bachelor's degree and because they have knowledge that Japanese don't have. So essentially, they don't steal a Japanese person's job, because no native Japanese, or most native Japanese don't also speak native English. So then, in other words, for example, in my case, I'm on a spouse visa, so I came on a spouse visa. Actually, I didn't. I came on a tourist visa, then switched to a spouse visa. And if I would apply for a work visa, I could do that because my field is IT, which is very needed, I think. And I have a university degree in that field. And it's kind of easy for somebody with my experience and so on to get a job. So that being said, it will, if I had, when I started searching for jobs like a couple of years ago, and I had like an N2 or N1 LPT certificate, then it would have been even easier to get a job, or I would have had more diverse offers maybe. Oh, hello, Professor Dr. Uzi. Good to see you. I think it has been some time. If I know, it will be easy to get. I had already read it. Sorry. Due to having a limited amount of chances to visit Japan, from your point of view, what are places you are eager to visit? So I'm not really sure, but so far I've only been on the main island Honshu. I have not been to Kyushu, which I want to see. Like my wife has a senpai in Nagasaki, just close to Fukuoka. I also never been to, obviously I've never been to Fukuoka and so on, and everywhere. Then there's a super volcano in Kyushu, which has like a super big crater, like 25 kilometers or so, and inside is like a new volcano that came, like, which is currently active, and I want to see that. So that's for Kyushu, at least that. Maybe also Beppu Onsen, which has a lot of hot springs, and if anyhow possible, I also want to meet Dogen, who's living there, who's another YouTuber. I also want to go to Shikoku. I've never been there, of course. Also, my wife hasn't been there, so I want to do that. And there's like when I organized Aikido seminar in 2016, one guy came and went to Shikoku, and there's a pilgrimage, like I think 88 shrines, and he walked them. So from one shrine to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, until you had 88. And he lost like, he had a good belly before he started, but after that he was like really lean and lost like 20 kilos or so. Not that I could afford that, but it's very interesting. And there's some interesting onsen and things to do there. Then also Hokkaido. Hokkaido seems to be close to Germany when it comes to flora, so the environment. Lots of greens and so on, so I want to see that, eat ramen there and all that. So yeah, essentially I want to go everywhere. I just want to travel more. I would love to travel more in Japan. There is some point system for long-term visa, and you get a few points for N2 and N1. That's correct. So there's a special, what was that? Let me think about the exact name. Highly skilled professional visa. So that's a type of visa where you need to have a certain level of points. If you have 70 points, you can get the visa, and then after 3 years you can already apply for permanent residency, or if you have 80 points or more, you can apply after 1 year. And N2 I think might be 10 points, and N1 15 or something like that. I'm not completely sure, but then in that case definitely language helps. Is a work visa very expensive? No, it's not. So essentially you need to get all the papers and so on. Maybe you might need some translations, which could cost some money, maybe. But here, Japan is not as strict as maybe other countries. So in Germany, you would have to get it from an official translator and so on, and then this costs a lot of money, like $300 or so. But here you can translate it yourself, actually, and then give it to them. And then when you get the visa, depending on the type, it usually costs, for work visa, costs 4,000 yen, which is like $40. But of course, it takes a lot of time and energy to get there, and maybe you need to send some documents, which again costs money. The volcano in Kagoshima erupts all the time. Very interesting to see. Yeah, I heard it as well. Never been there as well. So Dogen creates some very interesting content, and you can identify yourself in some of his pieces. Language assaults from older Japanese men. Yeah, yeah. One time we went. So I worked in Roppongi, and it's like a very let's say foreigner-friendly district in Tokyo with a lot of high buildings like Mori Tower, Roppongi Hills, and Midtown Tower. I worked in Midtown Tower, and then we moved our office in the middle of 2019, and we had a pizza place where we really loved to go to, and we had our kind of farewell party there. And after that, we went outside and stood before, and then a slow old Japanese man came, a slow old grumpy Japanese man came, and we are like on the sidewalk, and he's like, "Doke!" So it's like, maybe you can translate it as "fuck off." So, not fuck off, but get the fuck out of my way. So very, very rude, and that happens sometimes. The Japanese, or some older ladies also don't care anymore. So, but some get very nice because they don't care anymore, and some get very rude because they don't care anymore, and some still care. Sometimes, like, you see them at the underground, and they don't do like piss off or so, but they say like, they just go there, they don't go around you, they just do, and then you have to react and move away. So, can you give me an idea how much money $1,000? You mean in Japanese yen? Oh, I can Google that for you, but I mean, yeah, 1,000 Japanese dollars is 103,244 yen. So essentially $1 equals 100 yen right now. Do you like roller coasters or amusement parks? No. I don't like roller coasters because I am afraid of heights. So usually if I do that, or if I would do that, I did that in Germany, and usually I would be drunk. So as you may know, in Germany there's a very big, not an amusement park, but there's something called Oktoberfest, which is very big. I think like 6 million people come there within a period of 2 weeks, and essentially they vomit all over the city and drink a lot of beer. And I was one of them back then when I was young. And it's like the tents open at 10 in the morning and they close at 11 at night. So you have like 13 hours to drink, and then you have 30. So at 11 the tents close, and at 11:30 all the roller coasters and so on close. So if you like 30 minutes where you can like do like 2 or 3 rides, and then that's what we did. And that's all the experience I had with that. And I'm not super fond of that. And for amusement parks, I went to Disneyland in Tokyo once, which was much better than I anticipated, because it's not as wild. So for example, there's Fuji Q Highland, which has like a roller coaster. So often they go like this, right? But this one goes like this. So it's like an S or question mark. And I would definitely not do that. But my wife, she's like, yeah, let's do that. And she's also like bungee jumping and so on. I'm not that guy, at least not yet. So I'm not super into that. I also was in Tokyo Disney Sea once, but back then my kid was there and it was raining, so I had to take care of the kid, and yeah, it was not great. Cold and all that. I don't like cold. I haven't had any rude encounters, mostly being approached in trains, almost empty trains. You sit there with your better half, and they sit next to you and start honing their English skills. Yeah, that's good. I mean, some people say they sit in the train and the people next to them go away and sit on another seat. So that's like you have the opposite experience. Yeah, I also had it once. So that was interesting. We went from Nagano to Tokyo, I think. And then I was holding my kid, I think, and then a lady came. And she's like, how are you? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, thank you. And then she was like, didn't know what to do. And then after that, my wife told me, you know, Johannes, in Japan, we are told at school, and you need to react like that. If somebody asks you, how are you? You need to reply, I'm fine, thank you, and you. So that's like a set phrase, apparently. So if you ever have the chance and you can ask the Japanese, how are you? And most likely 80% or so, they will reply like that. Or they forgot already. Edo Wonderland, or Edo Wonderland is a really cool place. It's a really cool place, no roller coasters, and still an amusement park. Oh, I have to Google that. Edo Wonderland. Check it later. Where is that? Is it? Because I've never heard of it. Edo, I would guess it's in Tokyo, not? Q-lines at Fuji-Q Highland are horrible. Waited for over 2 hours for a coaster there, but maybe now it's better. Next to Nikko, I see. I've also never been to Nikko, so I have not been to so many places. Yeah. If you have anything you would like me to cover, then please speak up now. So I can share my plan with you. So next will be a video about an area here, Togashi. That's like still Nagano City, but used to be an own separate area, which is like in Shintoism, it's a very important area. And it's also the birthplace of soba noodles, apparently. So there are like only 4,000 or so inhabitants, but 50 soba restaurants. And there's also a very important shrine, which is separated into 3 or 5, depending on how you see it, different small shrines. And we went to the last one, which is like the most scenic one, and it was snowing a lot. So when we started, it was like 30 centimeters maybe, but on top of the hill was like hip height or higher, like 1 meter or so. And it got like to -9 or -10. That was great, like visually great. Got cold, of course. So that will be the next one. Then after that, I'm not sure yet, but I have a couple of things in mind. So one is I contacted a house construction company here, which only work in Nagano, and they build houses from trees here in the area. And they're so beautiful and super nice, and they have like a wood stove, so you burn not like an aircon like as I have, but an actual stove, and you burn wood and so on. And they're so nice, and I love them. And I would love to if I ever build a house here, then definitely with that company. So I contacted them already in April or so, and back then it was like, yeah, we are closed right now because our model houses are closed because of Corona, but once it's over, let's do it. And that's kind of the status. I think they're open now, but I'm still hesitant. But that's something I want to do soon. Then another one is another YouTuber from the area, and I want to go to Iyama, which is like kind of the next bigger city, and do a Kamakura experience. Kamakura is not only a city, but Kamakura is also igloos. And there they have like an igloo tradition for some reason. So we want to go there and have essentially dinner in an igloo, then stay in an ryokan, which is like a traditional Japanese hotel. That's the plan. That's another video. And then a third one, there's a German guy in southern Nagano, and I want to visit him. He lives in a village with like 500 people on a mountain, like 1,000 meters above sea level, which is high in Japan because, you know, it's an island. And there he constructed an international center. So he renovated an old Japanese house, a kominka. And I also contacted him some time ago, and he said he would love to have me there, but he doesn't actually know I want to come soon next year, so then hopefully. So that's the ideas I have currently. But none of that, only the one in Togashi and on the snow is already shot and now being edited. All right. Hi, Johannes. Are you teaching English in Japan, or were you a teacher of English in Japan? No. So because, as you can hear, I'm not a native English speaker, so it's a little bit harder for me, I think, to get an English job, or at least to get it initially here. although not impossible. They're also like, so the classic English teaching thing would be ALT, which is assistant language teacher, and there are many positions for English, but for German there are 0 or 1 usually. So there's 1, I think, position, and then if the person decides to go back, that's currently active, then somebody else might get it. And the requirements are of course much higher than for English teachers, because there is not a lot of availability. But I'm actually not, I'm in software engineering, so I don't teach English, and I never have, and also not German, which is my native language. How long will you leave this stream up for? Probably 48 hours again, and then usually I say I delete them, but I actually just make them. So if you have the link, if you copy it now, then you can just open it anytime. And also there's a playlist called Livestreams. It's also linked on, if you go to the channel main page, then you see it. If you scroll down, there are all the live streams. You can still access them from there, even if I say I deleted them. Can't wait to see more rare Japanese food when you travel. Yeah, me too. Actually, in the next video, we have some rather rare food. Maybe, do you know what gyoza is? Gyoza are like a kind of dumplings. They are like Japanese, quote unquote, not Japanese, Chinese, quote unquote, dumplings. So essentially dough on the outside and then like filling. And what we had here was teba gyoza, which is, you have still the filling, but the outside is not dough, but a chicken wing. So we had that. I also wanted to have sashimi, not horse sashimi, but sashi, with Victor when he visited me, the guy I went to on the mountain. I went with on the mountain, but because of Corona, I don't know exactly how that's related, it wasn't available. So, because one of the specialities of Nagano is actually horse meat. So there's horse meat, there's apples, there's soba, and there's some kind of dumpling thing, which is not gyoza. Is smoking in pubs now fully banned, or there's some places where it's still allowed? I think it's fully banned, but I have been to some places where they still smoked. But I don't know if that's because it's allowed, because they are super small or something. But I think it's not allowed. I've only seen one place, I think, and I didn't like it at all. There's a wasabi farm a bit south of Nagano in Asumino. Cool place that I haven't seen many videos on, yet a beautiful place. Could be mixed with hiking. Yeah, could be. I think I even saw that somewhere. Did you ever try chicken sashimi? No, I did. A friend of mine did in Fukuoka, I think. Then he got sick. And then he tried it again, and then he didn't got sick. At another place, and didn't got sick. And he also said it tasted pretty good. So apparently it was good enough for him to try it again. I mean, in Japan, you eat like raw chicken and raw egg a lot, right? But apparently, because of how the chickens are raised, or like the environment or so, it's not as dangerous as, for example, in the US. But I don't know the details. I do eat it though, so raw egg. So for example, now it's winter, right? So you get a lot of like hot pot nabe, like sukiyaki or so. It's like a hot pot, and then you have like lots of stuff inside, like meat, thinly sliced meat, and cabbage and carrots and all that stuff. And then you take it out and dip it into raw egg, like some mixed raw egg, and then eat it. But I didn't have any issues yet. Yeah, but food would of course be an option too. I mean, Victor, the guy I mentioned a couple of times now, I did the last video with, he was working for a channel called Yummy Japan before, and they did like, he and another guy called Charlie, from, maybe some remember him, some of you remember him from 2 Minutes Japan, that's his original channel. They did together ran this channel, and they did a total focus on food. So every video they did 2 a week was food, and it was a consistent quality, going to different places, showing off different food, and they had a really good growth. So in like half a year they grew from like maybe 5,000 to 25,000 or so subscribers, which is really hard to do in Japan, especially in Japan. It's hard to do in general, and especially in Japan, I think, because it's a rather small niche. Eggs are fine here too. I often put raw egg on rice for breakfast with natto. I see. Yeah, Europe has also strict regulations when it comes to how chicken or eggs are treated, I think. Stricter than the US, I hear. Like, it's hearsay, but yeah. By the way, 2 days ago, finally, my new computer arrived. So previously, I used this one here, which is a late 2015 MacBook Pro. It still works totally fine, but it's too slow. So now I purchased a new Mac Mini, which I never thought I would, but because it has a new now Apple-made chip inside, which works very well with Final Cut X. No, it's just Final Cut, I think, Final Cut Pro, Final Cut 10. With Final Cut, the editing software of my choice, I purchased this one, and it's really good so far. And it's super small, but it's like, let me show you. Here's my pizza, which I will eat later. It's the remainder of our lunch today from Domino's. And here is the Mac Mini, and it's so small. So look, this Japanese book, it's bigger than the computer. However, now I have to use a normal monitor again, and only one. That's a downgrade. Hi Tani. I'm late for the party. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. I hope it was a good year until now, and will continue to be great and much better than the last one. Will you create a cooking video at some point? Probably not. So I realize making great cooking videos takes a lot of effort and time, and I'm not willing to put that in, especially because it would be like a totally off topic compared to what I usually do on the channel. I like cooking, but I don't like cooking on a level where it's good enough for video, I think. Like, you know, I do like cut things, put it into a fry pan and make some pasta. So that's it. I think it's not worth sharing. Maybe in a couple of years, pork sashimi will finally make its transition from its home in Germany to all over the world, or maybe not. Good old Met. Okay, if you call it sashimi. I mean, usually what I understand under sashimi is like thinly sliced, good cuts of some kind of meat or fish. And what I understand under Met is like essentially minced pork meat with onions. But maybe I'm mistaken. That is actually really small. Yeah, we're talking about a computer, by the way. It is, yes, and so far it's good. So it started pretty bad. Performance was it was underwhelming. Then I updated the operating system, then it was pretty okay. And then, finally, I got the update of my editing software, and now it's really good. What's up, man? What's up, Madman? Good to have you here again. True, but it's also raw. That's correct. Okay, yes. Benjamin, yeah. Hello, Benjamin. Where have you been? By the way, so somebody asked me how long I will keep this live stream up for. Again, it will be available if you copy the link, the URL now. It will be available for you forever. And there's also a playlist on if you go to the channel main page and scroll down, it's called Livestreams. There you will also find it if you forget. However, I'm running this from my phone and only has 14% battery left. I started at 75 or so. So probably in about 10 minutes or so it will be over, just so you know. Then I will continue editing another video or so. I'll call my family in Germany. Do Japanese have smoked ham, like Schwarzwälder Schinken? They do. They do have, like, I think in the supermarket at least I can get Italian ham, smoked ham. It's so expensive. You get like 5 thinly sliced pieces for like $10 or so. Speaking of $10, yesterday I went to the supermarket with my son, and because it was Sylvester, I bought like a black box with very nicely arranged, all equal in color, strawberries for like only $12 or so. I say only because they were like maybe 20, which means like 50 cents per piece, which is about usual price, but they were much better than usual, much better or different. So if you have ever eaten Wagyu, really good Wagyu, then you understand that it's beef, but it tastes completely different. It's a completely different league even. Like it's like it's not apples to apples anymore. It's not comparable. It's very hard to compare. And this was the same. So this usually if I eat strawberries, they're either like a little bit sour or sweet, and there's some resistance. But this one was so easy to eat, and not sour, not sour, like not the slightest sour, and also not super sweet. So very easy to eat, very smooth. And we also bought what is Budo in wait, grapes, that's the word. We bought grapes called Shine Muscat. They're like super thick and also very expensive, like $22 for like maybe 25 or so. Very big grapes, and they're also so great, and also taste completely different than what you would get in Europe or so. Maybe I should make a video on that. Like also they have also apples here that are just different by how they taste. So maybe I should cover that once. Is tartar popular in Japan? I think I've never seen it anywhere. Maybe once or so, but never tried. I don't think so. The only thing I think of when I hear tartar is Mr. Bean. Maybe you can relate. Do your kids grow up bilingual? There's a clear focus on Japanese, or not a focus, but they spend more time with my wife, so it's Japanese. For my older one, I mostly speak Japanese. With my younger one, I only speak German. So kind of bilingual, but strong tendency towards Japanese, which I'm not happy with. Thanks a lot for the live stream. Have a good start into the new year and don't overdo it. You too, Alexa Meta. Have a great start and a great year. Lots of love and happiness. Do you know the channel Paolo from Tokyo? I know, yeah, of course. I think Mr. Beast will hit 50 million this month. This month already. Does he know? I think I checked him a couple of days ago. He was like already 49 million or so. So I think so, yeah. So for those who don't know, Mr. Beast is a very popular YouTuber, as indicated. 49.5 million now. Yeah, definitely he will do that. He gets like 2-3 millions a month or so. And his videos are really good. I mean, they have a common topic, as in Mr. Beast gives away money. That's very popular and so on. But they're very good, as in every bit is a highlight. Or it's like small highlights leading up to a very big highlight. So it's never not entertaining. So I think that's one of his keys to success. My favorite sport. So in Germany, soccer, football is very, very popular. So I played that a lot when I was younger, until 2013 when I injured myself. So back then I was 26, and then I never played again. And I started practicing Aikido when I was 17 in 2004, and I still do that. That's a martial art, so it's not competitive, so I wouldn't call it sport, but that's what I do. And that's my favorite right now. And that's also why I'm here, by the way, in Japan. So that's how I met my wife, and that's the reason for me when I first came to Japan. And it's still kind of is, I mean, of course, my wife and so on, but yeah, Aikido is what drives me. And sport for watching, yeah, soccer, definitely soccer. I mean, Japan is astonishingly, there's a very wide variety of what sports you can watch, or what's popular. Like I think even basketball, of course, soccer, baseball, rugby, so much. Like here, you drive on a mountain, and all of a sudden there's a rugby field. Why? I don't understand, but it's there. What do you support in FIFA World Cup, Germany or Japan? Germany. I mean, I'm not against Japan, of course, except if they play against Germany. But usually it's also not that Japan has the biggest chances, right? I mean, except for women. Japan is very strong. Yeah. However, last time Germany wasn't the greatest. Let's see how it goes in 2022. Yeah. So when I lived still in Germany, I was very active when it came to World Cup. So usually, for every game, then I went to see it at some live streaming location with fans and so on. But then, when I moved here last World Cup, I almost didn't see it, especially because the time is not. Is it like it was like 3 a.m. or something here, so it was unrealistic. Except for like that game against Korea. I'm working with some Koreans in my work, and then yeah, it was not great. Also some French people who won. Yeah. Well, good for them, I guess. If you have some other topics you would like to see me cover in the future, let me know. I have some more videos I started and put on a break, on a halt now. One of them is what not to do in Japan. I covered that actually in 2016, 4 years ago. And this time I'm doing it more extensively. I shot maybe 70% of the video, and I still need to do a little bit inside of restaurants, which I don't do because of COVID. And then another one is like Genius Japan. So the small things Japanese or Japan does to make everyday life more comfortable and to optimize the very limited space that's available here. It's also like shot to 70% or so, but also I didn't continue. But if you're interested, maybe I will continue. Who's your favorite soccer player? I don't have any, because I don't watch a lot of soccer here, because it's not in Germany. You would see soccer on TV every Saturday for Bundesliga and so on. That's very convenient to watch. But here, there's no. I'm not interested in J League, and so I don't watch a lot. I don't know. Essentially, I'm out of the loop now. Benjamin says moon, ski. Yes. You watch Japanese TV? Sometimes. So there's some shows. Tomorrow there will be one. There's a comedian called Degawa Tetsuro, and he's just great. So there's, by the way, I'm at 5% battery, so I will shut off soon. Maybe I should just connect the charger. Give me a second. Let me solve this issue. So there's a comedian called Degawa Tetsuro, and he sometimes has a show where he goes to an English-speaking country, and then he doesn't speak English essentially, and then he has to do some quests, essentially find the Statue of Liberty in New York, and then he goes to people and says, sorry, big white doru, come on. That's like essentially what's going on. So A, he thought the Statue of Liberty is white, and B, he described it as a doll, and then he thinks common is like appropriate. So very funny and very entertaining guy. And especially entertaining is how he does not care about his inability to speak the language. He just does it anyway, and usually he gets the job done. So that's really amazing. That's essentially what I like. So this level, and it's not very common. Maybe once a quarter, so this show is shown. So I don't watch it a whole lot. What do you prefer, gaming or watching anime? I don't game, and I don't watch anime essentially. I do watch it sometimes if it's really fun. Like I mentioned last time, I like One Punch Man. Sometimes I watch like the classics, like One Piece or Dragon Ball. Recently I watched Baki, the grappler on Netflix, which is super brutal, but also kind of fun. Yeah, so probably tendency is anime, even though it's not a lot. Gaming, I just recently I found, because I talked with my brother about the game I liked when I was younger, and who is in his live chat, by the way, and then he said I should check it on Steam, and that was for like $2. So I bought that one and played it a couple of months ago, but that essentially I don't game because I don't have time. I feel like if I game, I could also do something that's productive, as in drives forward this channel and so on. So I don't watch it. I don't play it, essentially. Baki's great. I recommend it too. Did you watch Tokyo Ghoul? No. I've heard the name. I haven't watched it. So I'm not in Japan for anime or games or so, or manga. Which I guess is rare, not as frequent. I think most people, even though they don't share it with me, are actually kind of otaku or so here. But let me quickly check battery. Okay, it's going up. But I'm not. So I'm not an otaku in the sense of anime and manga and so on. But I'm more martial arts otaku or budo. Are there some Christmas movies in Japan like Home Alone? Yes, Home Alone. Actually, there's Home Alone. They show that the Marv, Marv, one of the two bad guys, the taller one. He looks like a friend of us. My wife thinks, and I think so too, but the friend doesn't. He's not happy with that. So that's there. And then I think Lord of the Rings is also a Christmas movie, so I like watching that. I didn't do it this year though. We have DVDs, but I haven't watched it in some time. Die Hard, I think, is not as popular. At least I haven't seen it here on TV. Harry Potter would be another one to be at least think in November or so. We saw it on TV, like the first three, and then Fantastic Beast. But I don't like the second one. I don't live in Japan, but I'm a huge fan of you. Oh, thank you. Do you think I should move to Japan? I don't know, because I don't know your circumstances and what would drive you to go here. It depends also on your age, I think. So if you, or what you would expect. So if you think like you want to experience something new and see the world, I think that's a good idea. But if you think like I have issues, I want to run away from them, that's not a good idea, of course. And if you think you want to live here forever, then I would say maybe live here for a year first and see how you like it, or like do depending on your age again, or if you're still studying or not, do like a study abroad or working holiday if your country allows that, and see if you actually would like living here, because living here is different than being a tourist. Yeah, so I actually didn't like living here so much in the first year or so, I think. Because it was hard socially, so not a lot of contacts here. Living in Japan, I work from home, so I didn't have like work contacts, and I had a new child, a fresh child, so I essentially spent a lot of time with my wife and my children and my child. So there was not a lot of social interactions, and since my family wasn't here, friends were not here, and so on, it was hard, I think, very hard. So then when we moved to Tokyo, it became easier because I started working in a Japanese company, so I had the social environment and so on more and more. And now that we are back in Nagano, I like it much, much more. So it took me some time to get kind of warmed up to living in Japan. Still, I don't know if we will stay here forever or not. And then again, Madman, totally depends on your circumstances and what would be the reason for you to come here. So personally, so as I mentioned before, I do Aikido and I liked it a lot. It's a Japanese martial art, but only doing Aikido would have brought me to Japan definitely, maybe for 3 months or so. So on a tourist visa coming here, and then you know, practicing and going back again. But staying here longer than a year or so, I don't think so. I don't think that would have been enough. So if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't have come here for this period, for this extended period of time. What is your New Year's wish? My New Year's wish is peace. World peace, essentially. Unrealistic, I know, but you know, that's what I wish for, what I pray for. And while my resolution is health. Last year it was actually YouTube. Then my health deteriorated, and now it's health. So maybe then again, if I have this foundation of a good health, basic, like if that's there, Kihon, so the foundation is there, then I can build on that, make great videos, entertain you, hopefully grow the channel. So last video has been super not successful. maybe the thumbnail, maybe the topic just doesn't do well. Also, I changed the channel icon of me, you know, so maybe people don't know what's going on if this appears in the timeline. Yeah. Okay, then time to get going. He says, having a great year and see you at the next stream. You too, have a great year, and thank you for your continued support and watching. Maybe I should also get going slowly. Let's say now it's 9:30. Let's do until 9:24. Let's do until 9:30, and then enjoy the last hours of the day. Wherever you might be, it might already be over, or it might still be quite some time left. This might be the longest live stream I have ever done. Have a nice New Year, says Benjamin. Benjamin, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I like the live streams because they're kind of like personal interactions with you. not many people here, like 10 now, maybe now 11. So, kind of. Hi from Gibraltar. Hey, Ninja Monkey. Thank you for joining. I think you're the only person I know from Gibraltar now. Time for me also to go. Have a great year and waiting for your next video and live stream. Okay, Madman. You also have a great year and thank you for the support. Gibraltar. I've never been there. Wait, Gibraltar is now in the Schengen area, right? That's what I remember. So I can travel there freely. Gibraltar. As from today. Ha! I guess that's good. I'm from Germany. So you could visit me now, if I was in Germany. And if there wasn't Corona. I don't know, is the situation in Gibraltar kind of okay? I've only been to Düsseldorf, I see. I think I've never been there. Have I? Have I? Maybe not. I don't think so. But maybe next time when we come to Germany, we want to visit just to see, because it's like the biggest Japanese community in Germany, as far as I know. It's bad at the moment, lockdown, and had to spend New Year's alone. Oh, that's bad indeed. But I hope it will improve in this year. So I hope by the end of the year we can look back and say that was a tough one. Was a tough one. Like, focus on that one. Hi Tani. Düsseldorf is close to my place, and yeah, it has a big Japanese community and some partner programs with Japan. Right. Yeah. So you can even get a direct flight from Japan to Düsseldorf. Not to Berlin though. Maybe you can now because finally the Berlin airport opened. I also make Japan-based travel videos. When I can travel, says Ninja Monkey. Ooh, excellent. Let me check that. After this live stream though. Wait a second. Ninja Monkey. I think I saw your channel once. Probably. You might need to go back like a few videos, because no travel video for a while. Yeah, I see that. I see that. Yeah, I also had a period of the year where I did like a lot of sitting in my room videos, which I don't enjoy at all. Because they're like, it takes me more effort to make good videos just sitting in my room. That's what I mean. Because it's easy to just sit down and have one angle and talk to the camera, but usually that's not very entertaining, and as if you had like a couple of angles and so on. Do you do photography? Essentially no, so I'm not particularly interested. I mean, I snap something every now and then and put it on Instagram or so, but that's like not really photography. The guy who visited me a couple of weeks ago, Victor, who will be in my next video, he's a great photographer, I think. Let me share his Instagram. Wait a second. So my Instagram has like 300 or so followers, so it's nothing. But it's also not good, but he's good, I think. Yeah, maybe this year I need to do talking videos. Yeah, oh God. I mean, I hope you can come up with something nice and maybe change a couple of angles or so, or maybe do some some B-roll close-up and all that stuff to make it like spice it up a little bit. What's up, says Monis Prabhu. Hope this wasn't too off. Good to have you here. Happy New Year. Professor Dr. Uzi says, Frohes neues Jahr, liebe Grüße aus Kyoto. Oh, from Moments with Nick. I see, from Kyoto. Nick, do you also have a YouTube channel? Because it sounds like that. Moments with Nick. And Happy New Year. Live streaming is fun indeed. Yes, that's true. I mean, could have another angle somewhere and then switch and so on. But maybe that would be too much for me to to keep in mind. Nick says hi to Ninja Monkey. I've seen him in a video, and videos from Norm, Tokyo Lens. Exactly, yeah, he's a good friend with Norm. He also appeared in some abroad in Japan. Especially, I think he appeared on Abroad in Japan Stories, or what it's called. The smaller channel of Chris Broad. I see. Ninja Monkey and Moments with Nick know each other. Have a good day. Hope to see you again soon, says Deyosh. You too. Thank you for joining. Please take care in the US. Used to, I see. Not anymore. This means, though, I find you, right? There you are. Japanese hotel room. 3 years ago. Oh. But we started probably about the same time. I started in September 2016. And you started in June. Not close. Why did you stop, though? Because you got a decent amount of views, right? I mean, for your channel size, usually you got more views than subscribers, which is a good sign. It's cold in Japan. Where I am, it is. I think tonight we have like -8, or last night we had -8. Maybe now it's -6 or so. And we have snow today. So as you can see in the thumbnail, I made an igloo today. Is there Netflix in Japan? Yes, there is. You can even switch your Netflix to Japanese. And you can also search for shows that have Japanese if you would like Netflix to be in Japanese. And learn Japanese. Immerse yourself into Japanese using Netflix. Kind of lost the passion. Massive respect for people who keep going. I get that. I mean, in the beginning of the year, I tried to do a lot, like weekly, and then I also kind of went down. And then when my health deteriorated, I took the chance to make the cut and say, okay, I stopped that, because if I do it like that every week, just to make it every week, like I miss the passion and the quality also goes down. Everybody's losing, so I stopped that, and now I'm doing slower and hopefully better, or at least something I enjoy. So then, even if the video is not successful, like my last one, then I have at least an experience and at least some piece of work that I could be proud of. Happy New Year to you too, Monis Prabhu. I try to encourage him to make videos all the time, says Ninja Monkey, about Moments with Nick. Well, I mean, you know that saying, like, I can only open the door for you, but you have to walk through it by yourself. Glad you're doing better. Thank you. Yeah, important. Do what you enjoy, exactly. And Nick loved the Kofun video. Thank you for watching. Thank you. You're one of 260 or so, which is what, 1% of the channel, of the subscribers. Well, let's see how. Let's check the developments this year. So, actually wanted to stop right now, I think. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any last questions, inquiries, concerns, discussions, then please let me know now. And if not, then take care. Okay, go. So if not, then I think slowly we can call it a day for today. Wenn es nicht mehr geht, dann geht es nicht mehr. In diesem Punkt sollte man sich selbst vertrauen. Hau rein, viel Glück, Gesundheit und Weltfrieden wünsche ich dir. If it's not possible anymore, then it's not possible anymore. In this point, you should trust yourself. Kind of hau rein, punch in, like all the best, good luck, health, and world peace. That's what I wish you. That's what he said. Thank you, Professor Dr. Uzi. Have a nice rest of the day and a good weekend. Take care and have a great 2021. And goodbye. Yes, perfect. I couldn't have said it better. So thank you all so much for watching and for your continued support. Take care. Have a great year. May all your wishes come true, if they are good for you. And may everything get better than the last year. Even better, if it was good already. That being said, thank you all for joining. And then see you in the next video. It should be up sometime next week, maybe. All right. Bye-bye.